Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a truly fascinating personal journey. We're going to look at the remarkable, decades-long experiment of Dr. Bruce Kaplan. Now, he's a former dentist and chiropractor, and he has been living with multiple sclerosis for 45 years. But here's the thing. Rather than just accepting his diagnosis and settling into it, Dr. Kaplan has spent those 4.5 decades using his own body as a literal laboratory. He's relentlessly tested exactly how different foods impact his disease. So let's dive into this incredibly detailed case study of human resilience and bioindividuality.
Right out of the gate, Dr. Kaplan is incredibly clear about one major thing. This is not a universal prescription. He isn't telling you or anyone else exactly what you should put on your plate. Because multiple sclerosis is likely an umbrella diagnosis, what works for his specific version of the disease might not work for yours. Instead, he's sharing a framework of relentless trial and error. He's sharing the core concept of bioindividuality, and he's giving us a really honest account of the massive physical and emotional journey that led him to where he is today.
To really grasp where he ended up, we've got to look at where he started. His early childhood was full of these stark contrasts. On one hand, his mother was way ahead of her time. She instilled this idea of food as medicine early on, stocking the house with whole grain bread and natural peanut butter instead of sweets. But Dr. Kaplan admits he had a severe childhood sugar addiction. He'd literally walk to a local store, buy a whole bag of candy, and eat the entire thing before even getting home. In retrospect, he believes this severe sugar craving was a subconscious attempt to self-medicate for the profound low energy he was experiencing, which was very likely early undiagnosed MS fatigue. It was, as he calls it, the perfect storm.
Section 1. Decades of Dietary Trials.
For decades, Dr. Kaplan basically became his own medical detective, trying almost everything out there. The journey included more dietary experiments than he can even fully remember. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's exhausting just to read it. Right after his diagnosis back in 1987, he went to a small book signing for a then-unknown Deepak Chopra and dove headfirst into an Ayurvedic approach. In the late 80s, he explored rigorous whole food nutrition. In the 90s, he tried the blood type diet and actually discovered early on that going gluten-free yielded some noticeable benefits for him. Fast forward to 2012, he was attempting the Wahls Protocol, but eating 9 cups of produce every single day was just too demanding when combined with his MS fatigue. He tried celery juicing for years. He even tried keto in 2018, but he really struggled to maintain ketosis. Trial after trial, year after year, driven by this persistent optimism, but the results just weren't enough to fully address his condition.
Section 2. The Unexpected Gout Pivot.
So here comes a massive plot twist. It wasn't actually his MS research that forced his next radical shift. It was a sudden, major crisis with gout. Dr. Kaplan has a family history of elevated uric acid, and his neurologist noticed his levels were getting way too high. The doctor recommended a medication called allopurinol, but Dr. Kaplan made a deal with him. Let me try to fix this with my diet first. So, step 1, he goes completely vegan. The result? His uric acid stays elevated. Step 2, he switches to a vegetarian diet, since some research suggested it might be better for uric acid. Nope, still elevated. Finally, feeling pretty defeated, he takes the medication in step 3, and he has a severe allergic reaction to it. So that option is totally off the table. Out of pure necessity, he starts looking into emerging research, suggesting that eliminating fructose might actually matter more than eliminating meat purines, which leads us to step 4. He tries a highly controversial, meat-based carnivore diet.
Section 3. The Lion Diet Paradox.
Now, Dr. Kaplan didn't just casually start eating a bunch of meat. He researched the carnivore community with intense scrutiny. Following practitioners like Dr. Paul Saladino and Dr. Sean Baker, he eventually landed on what's called the lion diet. We're not just talking about eating steak and bacon here. It's a strict subset of the carnivore diet, popularized by Michaela Peterson, who used it to cure her own severe childhood autoimmune conditions. The lion diet limits food entirely to ruminant meat. We're talking beef, lamb, and bison, plus salt and water. That's it. Why ruminant animals, you ask? Well, because they have 4-chambered stomachs that process and filter plant toxins in a way that non-ruminant animals simply can't do. This makes ruminant meat uniquely free of those toxins. For Dr. Kaplan, beef now makes up the vast majority of what he eats.
Which brings us to a quote that, honestly, sounds absolutely outrageous at first glance. Dr. Anthony Chaffee says, "Plants are trying to kill us." It sounds wild, right? No way. But the evolutionary logic here is actually pretty fascinating. Think about it. Animals can run away, they can fight back, or they can hide from predators. Plants? They can't. Unable to flee, plants evolve these highly sophisticated chemical arsenals specifically designed to deter or harm the animals that try to eat them.
Let's break down this chemical arsenal a bit, because the science behind plant defense chemistry is thoroughly documented in his research. First up, we have oxalates, found in supposedly healthy foods like spinach and almonds. These are sharp, crystalline compounds that can actually accumulate in your tissues, causing joint pain and neurological symptoms. Then there are lectins, found in grains and nightshades, which can severely damage the gut lining. We've got gluten, which triggers measurable immune responses in almost all humans, not just people with celiac disease. Phytates? They actually bind up essential minerals like zinc and magnesium, reducing their absorption, which is a massive burden for someone already fighting a chronic illness. And finally, salicylates in fruits and veggies can trigger widespread inflammatory responses. Dr. Kaplan realized that for his specific version of MS, eliminating this entire chemical cocktail was way more beneficial than any plant-forward approach he had ever tried.
And this paradox brilliantly illustrates exactly why universal dietary advice can fail individuals so spectacularly. Conventional wisdom tells us, eat plenty of fiber for digestive health, but that assumes you have a gut with normal motility. Kaplan's reality is entirely different. As a direct consequence of his MS, he has significant neurogenic bowel dysfunction. His GI motility is slow and neurologically impaired. For him, adding fiber just adds bulk without the necessary muscular movement to clear it out, which actually worsens his problem. Removing fiber entirely was highly counterintuitive, sure, but it was a genuinely beneficial move for his very specific situation.
Section 4. The broader lesson. So what does this broader lesson actually look like in practice? You have to understand, Dr. Kaplan was a genuine food lover. He enjoyed expertly prepared food, he loved fine wine. Letting all of that go and shifting his mindset entirely from eating for pleasure toward eating exclusively for health was a massive mental shift. But you can't argue with the results for his specific physiology. He lost 40 pounds. He has had absolutely zero gout attacks in 2.5 years. His uric acid finally returned to acceptable levels, and most importantly, his MS symptoms and overall inflammatory burden have meaningfully reduced. Now, he is explicitly clear about this. This is not a cure for MS, but it is a powerful management tool. It makes his less bad days much more frequent and his bad days noticeably less severe. Even tiny deviations from this diet trigger immediate symptom exacerbation for him. Though, recently he notes he is cautiously experimenting with very tiny additions, like local raw honey, using muscle response testing just to ensure his body can actually handle it.
Ultimately, Dr. Kaplan totally calls out the standard neurological advice you typically get in a doctor's office. Being told to just eat a healthy, balanced diet is, in his own words, essentially useless. The relationship between food and MS is intensely real, and it is highly, highly individual. The true key to all of this is having the absolute patience to persistently eliminate, carefully test, and listen deeply to your own body's unique signals. He's 45 years into this, and he is still paying attention.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, we want to turn the focus right back to you. Using Dr. Kaplan's own closing question, what is your body telling you? What dietary approaches are you experimenting with on your own health journey? Are you truly listening to the signals your body sends when you eat? It's a pretty profound question to reflect on. Thank you so much for joining me as we explored this incredible 45-year journey today. Keep questioning, keep experimenting, and keep learning.